Good afternoon to all of you. Yes, it's another day of me coming to you in a video format. I'm going to apologize up front for the sound that's coming out of my person. This morning I woke up just fine. As today has progressed, my voice has started to do this a lot. So fingers crossed that it goes away. But I am still at home because my oldest tested COVID positive last week. And so his little brother had been here and it made him a household contact. And his school's rules are that he has to quarantine at home for 10 days. So he does not go to school in 259, which explains the difference in protocol. So we're hanging out. The big still has some symptoms, but some of the more obnoxious ones have been going away. We get new ones that come in after that. The little is excited for all of the unlimited screen time that he has been getting while we all just try to keep our distance from each other and stay healthy. I'm hoping that you are doing the same, staying healthy, taking care of yourselves, and making good choices in my absence. Oh, please do not disappoint me. I don't like being gone like this at all. Ever. It's hard. But we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to do what we can with our lessons. And the second part of class today, we're going to try something new. I was excited to do these lessons with you in person, but since I can't be there, we're going to give it a shot in this, it's almost like remote setting, but I'm the one who's remote teaching. Anyway, it's fine. But we're going to try this way and see how it goes. And if we have problems, if we experience failures, it's okay. It is absolutely okay. All right, so for the first 15 minutes of class, 15 minutes of class, you have time to finish your food web reinforcement assignment from Friday. If you were absent on Friday, or if you made a choice not to do your work on Friday, you will have to go back to the video. It's in the general feed right above this one. Go back over what it was that was addressed in that lesson and the expectations for your assignment and where to find all of that. So make sure you pause this video, go out and spend 15 minutes on that food web reinforcement assignment. At the end of 15 minutes, come on back, press play again, and we'll get started on this very seemingly odd question of how do we count orangutans? All right, thank you for coming back and rejoining me. Hopefully you had enough time to finish that food web reinforcement assignment. If you did not, hey, you do have study hall this week coming up in advocacy. Make sure you're working at that. So here's the question I have for you. How are we going to figure out how many orangutans typically live in a tropical rainforest? What are your ideas? So on the next page in your science folder, I want you to brainstorm your ideas. How are you going to figure out how many orangutans typically live in the tropical rainforest? Give me some idea. Pause the video. Once you have that written down, come back, press play, rejoin me for the next step. So scientists do have some methods on how they track and count and come up with these estimations of how many organisms live in a particular area. I have a YouTube link that is posted below this lesson. I want you to, of course, pause me again and go out and watch the How to Count Orangutans video. It's brief. It's maybe 5 minutes, I think, to get an idea of what scientists are actually doing. Not gonna lie, those orangutans are the cutest things. Oh my gosh, I want to just go hang out with them. If anybody has a connection at the zoo, I know they don't allow it. Just joking. So how do scientists count the orangutans? below your brainstorming, I want you to give me something you found interesting about the work that the scientists are doing. And if you're like, I think this is dumb, none of it was interesting, fine. Give me a summary of what you viewed. Give me the highlights. Tell me, what are scientists actually doing? Make sure you pause this. Come back when you're ready. We're going to work towards a lesson that will begin tomorrow on coming up with an idea of orangutan populations. Okay, so we do have some information. And I'm going to take you out to this story map. And here's what we're going to do with that. We're going to go through the story map together. I'm going to guide you through. After that, you will use the link, and it'll be provided for you. Go back down, scroll down in the post for today. And I want you to go through the story map that second time and look for some data, important pieces of information. Okay, so let's go through that initially together, and then you'll have time to go explore on your own, and of course record things in your science notebook. All right, welcome back over to the story map that we're going to be looking at with orangutan populations, and we're looking at areas of Borneo and Sumatra in particular. You can see the first tab that opens shows you dark green areas, and these are protected areas of Borneo and Sumatra. Okay, so that means that those forests can't be cut down. They can't turn it into land for agriculture. They can't cut down the forests to turn it into land for housing. It must remain intact. Okay, so here we're just looking at all of the green. Okay, some spots really large, some spots really quite small. We're going to move over to orangutan distribution. So these areas that you see a different color because the dark green was taken away, we're putting in this pink. At least that's what the screen says, is pink. This is where the orangutans are living. Okay? Since they like to live in the rainforests, and they prefer specific, sorry, my son is making a whole lot of noise in the background as I'm trying to do this. Since orangutans are not controlled by humans say so, they don't have to live in protected areas, but they can live in protected areas. Protected areas just to keep those rainforests, like I said, from being cut down. Okay, to preserve their existence as a home for a lot of organisms, as an oxygen source for our planet. All right, so let's overlap the two. First, I showed you the green with the protected areas, and then I also showed you the distribution of where the orangutans are actually living. There are spots where that does an overlap, where the orangutans do live, and it's also protected from destruction. Okay, and so now there is a brown color that you can see showing up in splotches. That's the overlap. That's where you're seeing the protected area and the population of orangutans living in those protected areas. And then there are 4 areas that we're going to look at in particular. This first one is in northern Sumatra. And as we zoom in, you can see the overlap of the orangutan populations in the protected locations as well. There's about 7,000 square kilometers of habitat that the orangutans live in. If you also look on the left, over a 25-year period, scientists have recorded the population, their best estimate, of the orangutans 4 times, and they are shown in the graph to the left. All right, so we're moving over to Borneo, and you can see that zoomed in, this is definitely a place where a lot of orangutans live, but the overlap is not quite as astonishing as the first that we saw. Again, 25-year period. Scientists had recorded their best estimation of the population of orangutans in these protected areas. All right, moving over to the east side of Borneo, we're looking at 750 square kilometers, like 10% of what we were looking at before. Again, same color matching here, the pink being the populations, the green being the protected areas, and the brown being where those overlap. All right, there are 2 points of population estimations that have been made, okay, 2004 and 2008. And then moving to this last part, this wildlife preserve here is where the pin is. 1,100 square kilometers. Same colorations. And also notice that there are 2 points of data over the last 25 years that scientists have collected with their estimation of orangutan population. I know I've walked you through this without really doing a ton of explaining, but that's where your job comes in to be a little bit different here, okay? I walked you through the things to look at and what they mean, giving you those highlights. But your job now is to go back through this, using that link in the post for today. Record data, information, key points. That does not mean you copy down every single word from each of these 7 tabs. But if we're looking at how many orangutans live in a location, what would we need for important information? And if we're looking at trying to see what happens to those populations over time, hint, that's kind of the direction we're going. What happens to those populations over time? Use those, and then in your science notebook, you are going to record that information, okay? I'm going to put this back up here for you as a reminder. And you can pause the video right here. Take care of your writing, and then have a wonderful day, and you'll get to hear me again tomorrow.